Hello everyone, I'm Annie Botticelli and I'm very excited to report that finally, March 10th, 2026, Jupiter is going direct after a 4-month slumber. Things that had been expanding from the middle of 2025 into around November of last year abruptly came to a halt and everything started to slumber with that expansion. Optimism, luck, ambition, excitement, enthusiasm may have all fallen by the wayside as Jupiter spent 4 months in retrograde. But he's waking up now, and so that's bringing forward movement now to home and family and housing for all signs. And I'm going to do a deep dive for each sign into the energy of the house and the sign that rules the house that is being expanded for each zodiac sign. So anything in your life that may have slowed down can wake up magically at this time, even despite the fact that when Jupiter is going direct, we are still in a Mercury retrograde, but Jupiter can trump Mercury in many ways. So you will feel this exuberance, the enthusiasm, the excitement, starting to look more into your bigger picture plans coming alive again. And as March progresses, this will intensify as Mercury goes forward and Jupiter is increasing in movement or motion. You will feel this excitement and these things waking back up. So let's do a deep dive. This is time stamped for each sign, so you can go into the notes underneath the video. The pinned post underneath the video will have the timestamps. For those of you listening on Spotify, I'm not sure if the timestamps come over. If they don't, search for Annie Botticelli Astro Kisses for my home podcast site to just take a peek at those timestamps, which will be there in this Jupiter going direct in Cancer report. All of this that we're going to talk about is going to be very strong May and June until Jupiter changes into Leo in July. To get more information about what's going on this month, go to anniehelpsyou.com, click on Unleash to get your written star report written by me. If you want to know what's going on in your chart from the perspective of the outer planets, go to anniebclarity.com, Annie the letter B clarity.com to pick up my outer planet personalized transit report, all recorded by me. No AI on my channel for the contents. And if you want to learn astrology, go to beastropro.com. beastropro.com. If you crave that close connection with someone as you're helping to guide them in their life with the starry wisdom, I can help you do that and teach you how through my astrology certification course at beastropro.com, beastropro.com. All right, so now let's jump into the timestamps for Jupiter moving forward in Cancer for each sign. Listen for your sun, rising, and moon if you know it. Okay, Aries friends, Jupiter for you is moving not only through the sign of Cancer, which rules home and family and housing, but it's also going through the house of Cancer, the 4th house. So all of that information is going to be double time for you. We're going to do a deep dive into what movement through the energy of Cancer through the 4th house looks like, what kind of things you can expect, and how to make the most of it while it's still here until July of 2026. Also worthy of note is that it's moving through the sign of Cancer until July 1st, but from the house perspective for Aries, from the whole house perspective, it will exit on July 1st. But from the Placidus chart, the later you are in the Aries sign, the longer you will have the activity of Jupiter in this 4th house. So it will go on for an extended time for you all as you go through the sign. Okay, so when we're looking at Jupiter moving through Cancer or the 4th house, we're going to combine the things that Jupiter rules, Jupiter key points, with the 4th house, the Cancer energies, and any of those additions, I always have our little plus sign and make this our mathematical equation, are potentials of how this can manifest. So in this period of time with this transit, the energies of home expansion are coming. Homes, housing, moves, sales, purchases, occupants, tenants, repairs, additions are all wanting to be expanded, and changes in your viewpoints on these topics, diversification in your real estate or home, anything having to do with a feeling of freedom, going big, all of these things
Want to come to this space. So for instance, if you're feeling crushed and crowded by city living, this transit may bring you out into the country. If you're feeling limited in a small town, Jupiter could bring you into the experience of a bustling city. So notice again this relative experience of freedom. Okay, it is a relative experience. Exactly what is expansive to you at any given time is, can be different. The energy of freedom is very, very, very relevant at this time. So if you've been feeling heaviness in your living situation, Jupiter can bring a shift. That could be better. So maybe someone who is stressing you out can move out of your house, making it easier or lighter. Or maybe your mortgage is so big that getting a roommate into the house is what gives you freedom, or renting it and, going and traveling your RV or whatever it is. Alternatively, it could be you moving into a bigger home that feels more expansive for you. So the energy wants to expand into that space. The fourth house also relates, and Cancer energies also relate to family, right? So you could increase your family size, either through your pregnancy or someone in your family, adoption, an in-law, one of your kids, has a partner, an increase in family size, a nephew, a niece, anything like that. It also rules things involving real estate and construction. Okay, so anything having to do with those kind of things, or working from home, or if your work is in the housing market, all of these things can be related. Your perspectives can be broadened. You can diversify. Again, just add all of this stuff to any of that stuff, and you have your potentials there. This energy is also the energy of childhood and the psychology of the adult that's based in experiences that were started in the childhood. So this can be a very productive time for deep inner work when you start to notice that all of those ways that your partner makes you feel, or the ways that your parents made you feel when you were little and you've never stopped feeling those emotions, you could have some big aha moments. Also big aha moments in ancestry or genealogy, finding relatives, maybe that you didn't know you had, this psychology house. And the healing, a lot of healing can occur with family members, whether they're still in form or not. Many people will take an interest in their ancestry or reviving some family roots or heritage at this time. Cancer energy and this fourth house also relates to traditional mother energy. Now, take note that in this day and age, mother energy doesn't have to take the form of a female gender. It's just that maternal energy, whoever in your life is that. Sometimes it's actually, a mom, what we traditionally know as a mom. But it could be anybody. But an increase in something having to do with mom, you as a maternal figure, your relatives, your relationship with your mother, anything like that can definitely bring about what's going on. And back to the housing, anything like even home improvement or preparing for a sale or a purchase, those types of energies have a lot of fuel at this time. And remember to plant the seeds of the things that you want. And even if they're not manifesting now, the more seeds you plant now, the more they can grow over the next 12 years of the Jupiter cycle.
Okay, so to get more information about the current and upcoming stars, go in another browser right now to AnnieHelpsYou.com. Scroll down just a bit and click on Unleash to get your free written star report. I do this monthly. I do this myself. It's not written by AI, so if you have a value to a human putting something together and you are in resonance with my perspectives, you can get your free report for each month there. I only send out 2 newsletters a month, so you will not get too much email from me, plus an occasional promo. If you want to see how the rest of the outer planets are going to be in your personal chart and exact dates for your personal chart for the outer planet transits, see my personalized video reports at AnnieBClarity.com, Annie the letter B, Clarity.com. Again, all of the content is made by me. And if you want to learn astrology, there will always be a place for humans with the practice of astrology. And if you want to connect with people that way and help them to guide them on their best path and help them understand themselves and others, by being an astrologer, go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com to see my astrology certification course. I can teach you how to help other people with astrology and to earn money while you're doing it. And if you want my 2026 calendar to know when the open times, the retrograde times of this year. We have a very retrograde year, and you want to see all the details. When you go to AnnieHelpsYou.com, right next to the Unleash box, there's one that says Upgrade. That will help you access my secret star portal that has the earliest access to all of my content, plus how to understand your birth chart and my 2026 calendar. So you can check that out there at Upgrade at AnnieHelpsYou.com. Okay, Taurus friends, let's look into the deep dive as to where Jupiter is waking up now and where it's going to be continuing to activate in the whole house chart, in the Placidus chart. The later you are in the Taurus sign, the longer what I'm about to talk about here will be in effect. You're having your third house of Gemini highlighted. So let's look at what the essence is of Jupiter and what it means when you combine that with the energy of the house of Gemini, the third house, which is where Jupiter is waking up for Taurus now. So you will notice some things will come back to life that had been dormant for 4 months.
Okay, so when we've got Jupiter moving through Gemini or the third house, be ready for prolific expression. It's the first point on our list here. Prolific expression. Jupiter waltzing through this house of communication will bring you every opportunity for writing, editing, speaking, communicating, and anything related to your expression. Even devices. So general communication, devices, your relationships and the communication there. If you've been wanting to upgrade your communication, this transit can assist. Definitely look to the current guidelines that I give in the horoscopes as far as making those large purchases. But in general, a Jupiter transit is longer than any Mercury retrograde transit. So there's going to be time during a Jupiter transit where this can be relevant. Something else that we see with Jupiter in Gemini or the third is communication from the lesser seen realms. So angels, guides, animal spirits, whatever you communicate with, we can definitely see that. Things involving your relatives or brothers and sisters can come up in a big way. You know, transportation, vehicles, mobility, social scene, busyness are all topics we see. So we can take these rules, basically the widening, the broadening, the diversification, the luck, the amplification, the addition, excess, and apply them to these. So changes in how you see your social interactions, changes in how you see interacting with lesser seen realms, you know, an addition to your prolific expression, excess in any of these realms. So we just combine the energies of Jupiter with the energies of Gemini in the third house here. And then we add in the key points. Get that over here. To go big, right? If there's a computer you've been wanting, maybe it's the time to do it. If you want to have big writing dreams, maybe it's the time to do it. If you're not quite ready to make big moves, you can plant seeds for the future. So you see all of these points, expansion of any of these things here. The topic of freedom, maybe as it relates to something with one of your relatives, or freedom as it relates to your transportation. And changing your mind about something can change your life. So the way that we really understand these Jupiter transits is to take the foundations of what we understand about Jupiter and apply them to the section that they're in. And pretty much, it's my big plus sign, right? Anything from this column that you add to this column is going to be a potential that you have in this transit. So when we say that, you know, an expansion, an upgrade can happen to any of these things. Upgrade to your device, upgrade to your vehicle, upgrade to your relationship, upgrade to your social status. But sometimes if somebody, let's say, is drowning in a car payment, then they can get more freedom from going into maybe a less expensive car. So in which case a downgrade would bring more freedom and a change in the perspective of the need to have that car. could affect and bring more freedom. You see, maybe if you were limited by your viewpoint that you had to have a certain vehicle. These are just all examples and certainly not judgments. Everyone's experience is different, but just to help you understand how the combining of these key points bring about the potentials that are showing up here at this time for you.
Okay, so to get more information about the current and upcoming stars, go in another browser right now to anniehelpsyou.com. Scroll down just a bit and click on Unleash to get your free written star report. I do this monthly. I do this myself. It's not written by AI, so if you have a value to a human putting something together and you are in resonance with my perspectives, you can get your free report for each month there. I only send out 2 newsletters a month, so you will not get too much email from me, plus an occasional promo. If you want to see how the rest of the outer planets are going to be in your personal chart and exact dates for your personal chart for the outer planet transits, see my personalized video reports at anniebclarity.com, Annie the letter B, clarity.com. Again, all of the content is made by me. And if you want to learn astrology, there will always be a place for humans with the practice of astrology. And if you want to connect with people that way and help them to guide them on their best path and help them understand themselves and others, by being an astrologer, go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com to see my astrology certification course. I can teach you how to help other people with astrology and to earn money while you're doing it. And if you want my 2026 calendar to know when the open times, the retrograde times of this year, we have a very retrograde year, and you want to see all the details, when you go to anniehelpsyou.com, right next to the Unleash box, there's one that says Upgrade. That will help you access my secret star portal that has the earliest access to all of my content, plus how to understand your birth chart and my 2026 calendar. So you can check that out there at Upgrade at anniehelpsyou.com. Okay, so Gemini friends, let's look into where Jupiter is waking up for you, where it's going to be blazing forward in the whole house chart, in the Placidus chart. If you follow that, the later you are in the Gemini sign, the longer you will have the energies that we're going to talk about in effect. We're going to go into the essence of Jupiter and then understand the essence of the second house of Taurus, which is where Jupiter is continuing its trek. And we'll look at the likely manifestations and how you can use these energies and what will be coming very much into the forefront and moving very rapidly here, pretty much starting whenever you're listening to this and going into July in the whole house and for longer in the Placidus chart, the later you are in the sign.
Okay, so when Jupiter is in Taurus or the second house, we're going to apply these principles of Jupiter, of optimism, broadening, diversification, luck, benevolence, education, international connections, diversifying, additive, excess, etc., to money. So this could mean an increase in income, expenses, which usually comes with the increase in income, like you're raising your standard of living, or your increase in expenses makes you get more income, an increase in money consciousness, an acquisition of desired material items, either through purchase or in some other way coming to you. An increase in your sustainability, either in working smarter instead of harder, like working less and making more, or your environmental sustainability, or just your habits that allow your life to function better. I have seen this also manifest as the topics of using your hands, whether it's gardening or woodworking or making things with your hands, the use of your hands and some kind of venture, possibly related to earning money, maybe a hobby turning into business, can also come up here. And the general energy of assessment of value of material items, of priorities, getting your priorities in order, are all things that I have seen come up when Jupiter is in Taurus or the second house. So again, we want to apply all of this. You can go big. If you want to make big income goals or any of these other things, change your imprint. This is a time to really dream big and go big and plant seeds for the future. Apply the energy of expansion to any of this. Watch out for excess as far as purchases, or, it's always a good idea to start saving more when you're making more. Also know that if you have any weak links in your money consciousness or in your budget, those could come up. And again, understanding the profound effects of changing your perspective. If you change your mind or change how you see your personal value, for instance, and the work that you do, you could get brave enough to ask for that raise. If you see your work as being more valuable and you carry that radiance and you really feel it and know it, that can all affect all of this. So in general, diversification of income, lucky breaks, internationally based income having to do with education or teaching, anything having to do with your philosophy or viewpoints. Maybe you were someone who wasn't as concerned about the environment, and now that Jupiter has expanded your viewpoint on that particular topic. So you can take any of these points and apply them to any of these points. And those are the types of things that you will see happen during Jupiter in Taurus or second house transits.
Okay, so to get more information about the current and upcoming stars, go in another browser right now to AnnieHelpsYou.com. Scroll down just a bit and click on Unleash to get your free written star report. I do this monthly. I do this myself. It's not written by AI, so if you have a value to a human putting something together and you are in resonance with my perspectives, you can get your free report for each month there. I only send out 2 newsletters a month, so you will not get too much email from me, plus an occasional promo. If you want to see how the rest of the outer planets are going to be in your personal chart and exact dates for your personal chart for the outer planet transits, see my personalized video reports at AnnieBClarity.com, Annie the letter B, Clarity.com. Again, all of the content is made by me. And if you want to learn astrology, there will always be a place for humans with the practice of astrology. And if you want to connect with people that way and help them to guide them on their best path and help them understand themselves and others, by being an astrologer, go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com, to see my astrology certification course. I can teach you how to help other people with astrology and to earn money while you're doing it. And if you want my 2026 calendar to know when the open times, the retrograde times of this year, we have a very retrograde year, and you want to see all the details, when you go to AnnieHelpsYou.com, right next to the Unleash box, there's one that says Upgrade. That will help you access my secret star portal that has the earliest access to all of my content, plus how to understand your birth chart and my 2026 calendar. So you can check that out there at Upgrade at AnnieHelpsYou.com. Okay, Cancer friends, so Jupiter has been in your sign since June of 2025. It will be there until July of 2026. This is a very big time. It's 1 year out of a 12-year cycle where you have it in your sign, and Jupiter can create an expansion of challenges, and it can create the solutions, and it creates growth and all kinds of things, but it can be a cycle of a 12-year cycle of a whole new level. So for when it's in your own sign, Jupiter in Cancer goes through your first house of Aries. So let's do a deep dive into the essence of Jupiter, understanding that better, and seeing the kinds of changes and opportunities that you've had and what you can still capitalize on before it makes the shift into Leo.
Okay, so when we're talking about Jupiter in Aries or the first house, we've got this tendency to lift up. It has to do with the sense of self. It has the energy of widening as it relates to the physical body, so people can gain weight, or it increases the notoriety, widens the notoriety or recognition. It definitely can increase self-focus, either from health issues that come up and get worsened from the Jupiter excess, or from other factors where the motivation just comes in. But it can add to motivation to address anything with the physical body. It can definitely bring up aggression. So there might be a need to exercise more, which can enhance the physical body. But you also have to be careful of injuries, because this excess combined with this type of energy can, you just have to be more careful. It can definitely inspire. And again, this inspiration can be about yourself, your role, or to inspire others, kind of see yourself in a position to help people and then do that. And it can definitely widen your role. So maybe you've seen yourself as a parent and that's what you've been focusing on. And now maybe your kids are a little older and now you want to see, what other areas of purpose do you have? Or maybe you've been an architect and now you want to be, a musician. The topics of how people see you and what you're known for is definitely coming up here. Now, what also tends to come up is that energy, of course, all these key points as it relates to these. So this energy of going big, we talked about how people can gain weight under Jupiter transits. They can also gain muscle mass. So if you're trying to gain weight, great, this will help. If you're not, it might be time to address the issues that are at the core of why that's an issue. And you can definitely go big with your dreams as far as yourself with your image or yourself with what you want to do with your health. Again, with planting as many seeds as possible. So like diversifying, trying to, try different things or put a lot of hands in the fire as far as, working on any of these topics. The energy of expansion we talked about can be physical, but can also have to do with expanding beyond the role or something that you've been seeing yourself as or other people wanting to box you in as. Freedom is definitely a topic. Physical freedom, mental, emotional freedom, all of the freedom and mobility. Trying to maintain balance. Again, this is going to directly have to do with your physical body. So trying to sleep more, trying to balance out exercise. We talked about how health problems can come up because the astrological transits can show up weak links. So if you have a symptom, it's your body talking to you, and it's definitely a good idea to get it checked out. And changing your perspective about yourself, your body, your past, your birth, your circumstances at birth. This is also related here. Sometimes birth trauma can follow people for the rest of their lives, and looking into those types of psychological modalities that can help you shift your image, which can shift your life.
Okay, so to get more information about the current and upcoming stars, go in another browser right now to AnnieHelpsYou.com. Scroll down just a bit and click on Unleash to get your free written star report. I do this monthly. I do this myself. It's not written by AI, so if you have a value to a human putting something together and you are in resonance with my perspectives, you can get your free report for each month there. I only send out 2 newsletters a month, so you will not get too much email from me, plus an occasional promo. If you want to see how the rest of the outer planets are going to be in your personal chart and exact dates for your personal chart for the outer planet transits, see my personalized video reports at AnnieBClarity.com, Annie the letter B, Clarity.com. Again, all of the content is made by me. And if you want to learn astrology, there will always be a place for humans with the practice of astrology. And if you want to connect with people that way and help them to guide them on their best path and help them understand themselves and others, by being an astrologer, go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com to see my astrology certification course. I can teach you how to help other people with astrology and to earn money while you're doing it. And if you want my 2026 calendar to know when the open times, the retrograde times of this year, we have a very retrograde year, and you want to see all the details, when you go to AnnieHelpsYou.com, right next to the Unleash box, there's one that says Upgrade. That will help you access my secret star portal that has the earliest access to all of my content, plus how to understand your birth chart and my 2026 calendar. So you can check that out there at Upgrade at AnnieHelpsYou.com. Okay, Leo friends, let's look at where Jupiter has been expanding since June of 2025, where it took a little break and started to go backwards, inward into reflective, working on the foundations mode in November, and has come alive in March and will be blazing forward until the end of June in the sign of Cancer. And specifically for Leo, that is in your 12th house of Pisces. So let's do a deep dive to look at the essence of Jupiter and what that brings in this placement during this time, specifically for Leo, so that you can utilize the rest of this cycle with as much oomph as possible.
When Jupiter is in Pisces or the 12th house, we want to add all the Jupiter rules and all the Jupiter key points to the energies of Pisces in the 12th house and the energies of Neptune. And we will get the potential combinations of a Jupiter transit in that placement, which are unlimited types of manifestations, but I'll just show you how to apply the equation and you can start to understand this in a bigger way. So the 12th house is one of the houses of the unseen worlds, intuition, metaphysical studies, connections and communication with guides and angels and archangels and fairies and animals and elementals of all sorts, all become more important than tangible endeavors, okay? Or start to increase in importance. Conscious work through dream time is also very much indicated now, and an expansion of intuition in your relationship with intuition is, a really, really big piece. Any dream work that you do, lucid dreaming, anything having to do with using your dreams to heal, to access your subconscious mind, the collective unconscious, is all very well indicated now. Your dreams might be more vivid, and you having productive outcomes from them are also more likely. Past life regression, hypnosis, working with subliminal recordings, things like affirmations and divination tools and processes, and other forms of deep inner work that work on your psyche but also acknowledge the connectedness to all things, meditation, are amazingly beautifully accentuated at this time. And you might notice that synchronicities are likely to increase and become your norm. Synchronicity is one of the big languages of spirit. It's the way spirit communicates to us to tell us that we're on the right track. And your awareness of synchronicities and your relationship to and communication with are more likely to increase. So the awareness that there's a cosmic soup from which everything springs, the Akashic records, all of these things are areas that are highlighted that Jupiter will diversify, bring luck to, bring amplification in addition to, and could even bring some excess. And you could change your philosophies. So meaningful interactions with others may have a more spiritual basis. This is also a time for things behind the scenes. So people could be working in your favor and you won't even know it. You taking on more of a focus on privacy and protection and security is also, more likely now. Clandestine relationships, interactions, projects, the need or drive to protect something that you're working on or someone that you're connecting with might be, an area of focus for you. So this time is a time to lay the groundwork within the deep recesses of your being and behind closed doors, doing it behind closed doors, so that when the time comes to present your new offerings or your way of being or your awarenesses, then you will be rested and ready. And this is a time of rest and retreat. So understanding this can be very important. If you are usually ambitious and Jupiter is transiting in this space and you are not ambitious now, this could be why, because it's a placement of inner ambition. It's a time of rest and renewal and retreat and sabbatical and asking deep questions and pondering and feeling. Quiet time and time spent in nature. We mentioned meditation, prayer, silence are all really supported and expanded, amplified by Jupiter at this time. So Jupiter's presence here brings enrichment to your inner world in a way that makes it feel more real than aspects of your, more tangible experience. Well, the 12th house in this Pisces energy can also rule fears. So you could have an increase in anxiety and fear that comes up, but again, Jupiter's presence here is bringing benevolence and protection to help you remember that you can rid yourself of fear and step more fully into faith and trust, because it does actually also rule faith, this area. Okay, and the more you can conquer your addictions and fear, the more free you will be, right? So there could be a lot of grace in this situation of addictions. And I don't mean just the addictions of the senses that we, tend to use that word for. I mean addictive thought patterns, or criticism of self, or the addiction to fear. All of those things can be blasted through, and your connection to the higher power and your latent inner power can profoundly change your perspectives. And understanding that the profound effects of changing your perspective can completely change your life. So we've got art and creativity and artistic endeavors expanded as well. And this 12th house rules the connectivity of all things. So it's the place where we are all one. And the belief in that, the feeling in that, the knowing of that, the blurry boundaries between life and death and us and someone else. There's this commingling energy can be amplified in very fulfilling ways, and also can be excessive, and you might have to set some boundaries and clear your energy to try to get, own your personal space a bit more.
Okay, so to get more information about the current and upcoming stars, go in another browser right now to AnnieHelpsYou.com. Scroll down just a bit and click on Unleash to get your free written star report. I do this monthly. I do this myself. It's not written by AI. So if you have a value to a human putting something together and you are in resonance with my perspectives, you can get your free report for each month there. I only send out 2 newsletters a month, so you will not get too much email from me, plus an occasional promo. If you want to see how the rest of the outer planets are going to be in your personal chart and exact dates for your personal chart for the outer planet transits, see my personalized video reports at AnnieBClarity.com, Annie the letter B, Clarity.com. Again, all of the content is made by me. And if you want to learn astrology, there will always be a place for humans with the practice of astrology. And if you want to connect with people that way and help them to guide them on their best path and help them understand themselves and others, by being an astrologer, go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com, to see my astrology certification course. I can teach you how to help other people with astrology and to earn money while you're doing it. And if you want my 2026 calendar to know when the open times, the retrograde times of this year, we have a very retrograde year, and you want to see all the details, when you go to AnnieHelpsYou.com, right next to the Unleash box, there's one that says Upgrade. That will help you access my secret star portal that has the earliest access to all of my content, plus how to understand your birth chart and my 2026 calendar. So you can check that out there at Upgrade at AnnieHelpsYou.com. Hello, Virgo friends. Okay, let's go see where Jupiter has been expanding since June 2025, where it kind of went dormant. November 2025, it's waking up. March 2026, and will blaze forward until the end of June 2026. This will be specifically in your Aquarius ruled 11th house, and we're going to do a deep dive in there, remembering that in the whole house chart, this circuit will end at the end of June, but in the Placidus chart, the later you are in the sign, the longer these energies will linger.
Okay, so when we're looking at Jupiter moving through the 11th house, or the sign of Aquarius, we're going to add our Jupiter rules and Jupiter key points to the energy of the 11th house in Aquarius, and the planet Uranus even, since that rules Aquarius. And any additive effects here will be the potentials that you can see for the transit. So let's break this down. The 11th house rules big dreams. Okay, that's my top thing, which isn't even on this list, but I'm going to put it there. Big dreams, not the ones you have at night, but the huge visions for your life, your lifetime aspirations. So when Jupiter's in this house, your chance of laying the groundwork or having major expansion on the road to fulfillment of your biggest dreams gets a major boost. Okay, so Jupiter transits are never a time to go small in anything that is there it's ruling. Okay, so you want to go big. And if there's something crazy, like if someone would ask you and say, what would you do if you could absolutely do anything? Those are the things to go for. Okay, because even if you don't get to them, you will still go further than you would have if you didn't try. All right, that's a very big rule of Jupiter. People who have strong Jupiter in their chart know this, and they do it naturally. This is a time when those energies can fuel this area of your life or any area of your life. Okay, so you're going to go through the expanded version of your wildest dreams. The next thing to know is that Aquarius in the 11th house rules friends, friendships, social circles, acquaintances, social media and all internet-based projects, groups, large organizations, humanitarian efforts, community projects, online communities, your place within the group, all of that. So to get the full support of Jupiter in this placement, you have to say yes to some things that people invite you to and options and opportunities that you have to connect with people this way. Now, it doesn't mean you have to indiscriminately not be discerning and go to everything. You still want to fine-tune your intuition. You want to follow the, the guidance that you're getting in the signs and follow them and say yes to the things that you need to say yes to. But you definitely want to be asking the question, should I be going to this? Whether it's an event online or whether it's a meeting, or even if someone wants to introduce you to an acquaintance or someone that could turn out to be very important. The odds of someone introducing you to someone that becomes key in your life are very pronounced at this time. But again, you have to say yes, okay? So the more people you connect with, the more Jupiter has a chance to work its magic. And during the time that Jupiter's in this position, amazing things can happen at this time, but remember that it also plants seeds for the future. So you can meet someone during this transit who some years from now could wind up playing a key role. And the importance of the things that go on now might not be completely evident in this time frame. Okay? So that's very important to know. Anything that's working for the greater good is very well supported at this time, and anything having to do with humanitarian efforts or trying to help people or band together for a common purpose is going to have Jupiter's full support in your life. All right? So when Jupiter moves to the 11th house, it's a great time to lean on your friends, and it's also a great time to be there for them. They might need more help, or you might need more help. Or you might make a bunch of new friends. It can definitely add to your friendship circle when Jupiter is here. And it's really a great time for friendship enrichment and also growth and healing from seeing yourself as part of a group and not feeling isolated and finding like-minded people that you resonate with. So adding your creativity to a group project can work in amazing ways. Also, inventions and innovation, tech things are all ruled here. So if you're doing anything on those fronts, of course, in the internet website, if you want to launch a website or do internet-based projects, you have all the luck and benevolence and amplification and addition of this. Watch out for the excess. Diversification is also key, and you might broaden your approach. Aquarius is also one of the rules of astrology. So, and some metaphysical aspects and even new age things. So you might find that you're interested in those things more, or that you're expanding your knowledge on those topics.
Okay, so to get more information about the current and upcoming stars, go in another browser right now to anniehelpsyou.com. Scroll down just a bit and click on Unleash to get your free written star report. I do this monthly. I do this myself. It's not written by AI. So if you have a value to a human putting something together and you are in resonance with my perspectives, you can get your free report for each month there. I only send out 2 newsletters a month, so you will not get too much email from me, plus an occasional promo. If you want to see how The rest of the outer planets are going to be in your personal chart, and exact dates for your personal chart for the outer planet transits. See my personalized video reports at anniebclarity.com, Annie the letter B, clarity.com. Again, all of the content is made by me. And if you want to learn astrology, there will always be a place for humans with the practice of astrology. And if you want to connect with people that way and help them to guide them on their best path and help them understand themselves and others, by being an astrologer, go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com, to see my astrology certification course. I can teach you how to help other people with astrology and to earn money while you're doing it. And if you want my 2026 calendar to know when the open times, the retrograde times of this year, we have a very retrograde year, and you want to see all the details, when you go to anniehelpsyou.com, right next to the Unleash box, there's one that says Upgrade. That will help you access my secret star portal that has the earliest access to all of my content, plus how to understand your birth chart and my 2026 calendar. So you can check that out there at Upgrade at anniehelpsyou.com. Okay, Libra friends, let's go do our deep dive for Jupiter in Cancer, which started in June 2025, started to take a little break in November 2025, starts blazing forward March 10th, and races towards the end of Cancer through the end of June before it moves into Leo in early July. Remembering that what we're about to talk about with Jupiter accentuating the Capricorn house of the 10th house of Capricorn, that's where Jupiter is when it's in Cancer, knowing that this whole house transit will end at the end of June, but in the Placidus chart, the later you are in the sign, the more these energies may linger. Okay, so when we're looking at Jupiter moving through the Capricorn, the sign of Capricorn, or the 10th house, we're going to take all the Jupiter rules and key points and add them to the energies of the 10th house, Capricorn, Saturn, and that any of those combinations with our big plus sign here are going to be potential manifestations of a Jupiter transit in that location or sign. Okay, so your work and career and life purpose are going to get a major boost now because Jupiter wants that. So the energies of luck and recognition and growth and opportunities are going to be present in your work, career, business arena. This can come in the form of raises, promotions, an expanded audience, or an acknowledgement for your work, a new and better job, a new and better position within the same company, fulfillment of major career goals, a feeling of fulfillment within your work, anything like that. Now, if you are a person who is not in the workforce or doesn't need to earn money, life purpose can come into the forefront. And even if you are in the job market, the topic of life purpose, like what are you here to do? What is your interface with the world from sharing the perspective of sharing your gifts? There's an increased chance that you will feel on track and feel like you're doing what you mean to do, like what you were meant to do. Remember that Jupiter often has an additive effect. So a lot of times the work or business or life purpose or whatever topics that come up here are going to be in addition to what you're already doing. A little side job, starting a business on the side of your stable work. You know, maybe you already have hands in the fire, but you add something else that feels really fulfilling for you. Anything like that. Now, the energy of broadening or going wide, you could have a change in perspective as far as it relates to your work. Usually, the answer when Jupiter's involved is not going to be either or, it's going to be and. All right, so doing both or doing several if you have to make a choice. You know, I have a massive amount of planets in Sagittarius, and if I have to make a choice and it's appropriate and feels right to make an and choice, I will do that before an either or any day. And that is the embodiment of what you want to do. So this is a big deal. All right, so the chance that you're standing within the public realms is increased is also increased. And so the chance that, you know, that whatever favor you have or acknowledgement you have, either through marriage or through the job change or through recognition,
can be a time where you get more clout or people start to recognize what you're doing. This can also be a time of optimism in the workplace, or optimism as it relates to your job or your work or your path. The increase in your capacity to manage things, keeping your balls up in the air, is also increased. Discipline, responsibility, structure, talked about your place out in the world, you as your own authority figure, your relationships with authority figures could drastically improve. Of course, remember, astrological transits can show up as weak links. So if you have a weak link in one of these areas, it could come up as a problem before it comes up as a solution. But Jupiter always wants to look for those solutions. Okay, so it would only be coming up in order to find the solution. So your strategies could be amplified and protected and diversified, for that matter. Okay, so any chance you can diversify in this area of life, it's going to work out better. Now, there's also this energy of father figure, or a mother who plays the role of a father, or, gender, within the gender spectrum, anyone who resonates with this type of energy for you, or you as one of these people. This energy is also very pronounced at this time. Topics of freedom, expansion, planting seeds, and going big are all things that you want to apply, and remembering the profound effects of your perspective. You definitely can change your mind about something on this list, and it can definitely change your life.
Okay, so to get more information about the current and upcoming stars, go in another browser right now to AnnieHelpsYou.com. Scroll down just a bit and click on Unleash to get your free written star report. I do this monthly. I do this myself. It's not written by AI, so if you have a value to a human putting something together and you are in resonance with my perspectives, you can get your free report for each month there. I only send out 2 newsletters a month, so you will not get too much email from me, plus an occasional promo. If you want to see how the rest of the outer planets are going to be in your personal chart and exact dates for your personal chart for the outer planet transits, see my personalized video reports at AnnieBClarity.com, Annie the letter B, Clarity.com. Again, all of the content is made by me. And if you want to learn astrology, there will always be a place for humans with the practice of astrology. And if you want to connect with people that way and help them to guide them on their best path and help them understand themselves and others, by being an astrologer, go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com, to see my astrology certification course. I can teach you how to help other people with astrology and to earn money while you're doing it. And if you want my 2026 calendar to know when the open times, the retrograde times of this year, we have a very retrograde year, and you want to see all the details, when you go to AnnieHelpsYou.com, right next to the Unleash box, there's one that says Upgrade. That will help you access my secret star portal that has the earliest access to all of my content, plus how to understand your birth chart and my 2026 calendar. So you can check that out there at Upgrade at AnnieHelpsYou.com. Okay, Scorpio friends, so let's see where this Jupiter moving through Cancer, fellow water sign, very favorable, benevolent year from the Jupiter perspective from June 2025, taking a little break going in retrograde in November 2025 through March 2026, March 10th, blazing forward in Cancer until the end of June before it gets to Leo in July. This accentuates for you the 9th house of Sagittarius, so we're going to do a deep dive into the essence of Jupiter and what that looks like in this 9th house Sagittarius energy, knowing that in the whole house chart, this is ending at the end of June, but in the Placidus charts, the later in the sign you are, the longer this will linger.
Okay, so when we've got Jupiter moving through the 9th house or Sagittarius, it's a doubling up of all of this energy, because Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So when it's moving through the 9th house or the sign of Sagittarius, everything is just completely amplified, okay? So the chance to have general solutions, international connections, immigration, that trip to a different country that you've wanted, that language that you've been trying to learn, that writing or publishing project that you've been trying to get going, your sense of adventure, Long distance travel, which could be in your country. If you have a big country, like if you're going from Florida to Alaska, that's definitely a Sagittarius type of trip. You're looking for your perfect education program or expanding your horizons on any level. Getting to see from the top of the mountain a viewpoint or a solution, and looking at the bigger picture and having things click, and a renewed sense of peace and optimism that comes from that perspective. Public speaking, anything with your church or spiritual beliefs are all wanting to be enhanced. There's a very good chance that perspectives will be broadened and that your experiences, you could have a life-changing experience. You could get your fingers in a lot of pudding pies. Jupiter energy and Sag like to diversify. Luck and benevolence and protection in whatever arenas you're trying to get into are also more likely. We talked about excess, and so the chance of burning yourself out is always increased in the area where Jupiter is moving through. But if you've got it moving through the sign that it also rules, you really have to watch out for that, because the odds are that you'll be so excited about everything that, it'll be hard to manage and keep balance. But it is very important to try to keep balance. You'll notice the topic of freedom come up from the philosophical standpoint and also from a lot of other standpoints. Maybe there's an education program that you wanted to do, but it's going to box you in for a few years. Trying to figure out if that's what going to really make you reach your goals. Maybe it's worth it for you. Maybe it isn't. Anything having to do with planting seeds. If some of these things are not manifesting now, you keep working at them, and sometime over the next 12 years, it's very likely that these things will manifest. Don't be afraid to go big. This is the time when you have the big gas giant that has all of that energy moving through the house it rules. It's definitely a time to really, really go big. And know that if there are any blocks to what you're trying to do, they could come up in a big way. But you can also come to the solutions. And you might change your mind about something which can change your life.
Okay, so to get more information about the current and upcoming stars, go in another browser right now to anniehelpsyou.com. Scroll down just a bit and click on Unleash to get your free written star report. I do this monthly. I do this myself. It's not written by AI, so if you have a value to a human putting something together and you are in resonance with my perspectives, you can get your free report for each month there. I only send out 2 newsletters a month, so you will not get too much email from me, plus an occasional promo. If you want to see how the rest of the outer planets are going to be in your personal chart and exact dates for your personal chart for the outer planet transits, see my personalized video reports at anniebclarity.com, Annie the letter B, clarity.com. Again, all of the content is made by me. And if you want to learn astrology, there will always be a place for humans with the practice of astrology. And if you want to connect with people that way and help them to guide them on their best path and help them understand themselves and others, by being an astrologer, go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com to see my astrology certification course. I can teach you how to help other people with astrology and to earn money while you're doing it. And if you want my 2026 calendar to know when the open times, the retrograde times of this year, we have a very retrograde year, and you want to see all the details, when you go to anniehelpsyou.com, right next to the Unleash box, there's one that says Upgrade. That will help you access my secret star portal that has the earliest access to all of my content, plus how to understand your birth chart and my 2026 calendar. So you can check that out there at Upgrade at anniehelpsyou.com. Okay, Sagittarius friends, let's look to do this deep dive for where Jupiter in Cancer moves for Sagittarius during this 1 year of a 12-year cycle, and what's been getting activated for you since June of 2025. Took a little internal deep dive in the retrograde November 2025 into March of 2026, waking up March 10th and blazing forward in Cancer to complete its cycle at the end of June. In the whole house chart, what I'm going to talk about here will be passing through, its effects In the Placidus chart, the later you are in Sagittarius, the longer these influences may linger for you in that chart. So we're going to look at the essence of Jupiter, which is our ruling planet, and we're going to look at what Jupiter in the sign of Scorpio, relating to the Scorpio ruled house of the 8th house, which is where Jupiter moves for you when it's in Cancer, what that looks like for you and what you can do with the rest of the time of this transit.
Okay, so when we are trying to understand the effects of a Jupiter transit through the 8th house or Scorpio, we are going to use my little famous math equation here where we add the Jupiter rules and the Jupiter key points to the energy of the 8th house and Scorpio. And anything that you get when you add these things to those are going to be potentials that Jupiter can bring in this time. The 8th house, or the energy of Scorpio, is called the house of other people's money. Okay, so familial money, collaboration, debt, capital loans, taxes, legacy planning, spousal money, inheritances, anything like that, money from the government, relationships with the government, anything like that is all in this house. So if you need a loan or you're having trouble with debt, luck, benevolence, and protection could be coming. Diversification of your investments. Investments are also in there. International connections having to do with investments or money. If you are in a deep, intimate relationship, you can have an expansion or amplification of it. There could be excess. There could be changes to viewpoint of the topics of power and sex and money. Also, psychology and even mysteries and esoteric topics all can come up at this point. So that's just kind of a summary. So going deeper into some of this. So debt could be cleared. Loans and refinances and grants or lotto or other winnings can happen at this time. Luck. Anything having to do with research or investigative projects are all awesome at this time. You can have an amazing breakthrough or crazy experience from a parapsychological perspective, or like a big urge to study or go deeper into mysteries or occult studies. The 8th house is also one of the emotional houses, as it's a water sign. So profound emotional healing can happen. And the urge to merge will likely be strong. So if you're looking to find somebody to merge with from a romantic perspective or a business perspective, Jupiter can help. Pluto is the ruler of the 8th house in Scorpio, and that energy rules birth and death and transformation and rebirth and the phoenix rising from the ashes. So topics related to death, including the afterlife, might become very relevant at this point. Also, connecting with those who have crossed over or beings from even different dimensions, if you are aware of those. And sometimes they might just come all of a sudden. So anything having to do with this plus this can happen at this point. So the key points, we want to go big. If you have goals in these areas, you really can reach them with Jupiter. If they're not manifesting now, plant as many seeds as possible for the life that you want to have. The topic of freedom is likely to come up in a lot of different ways, exploring that and looking for solutions. Solutions and resolutions are another area of Jupiter. Understanding that these weak links can show up. If you've been having excess with your sex arena, if you haven't been discerning and there are issues, if there's anything having to do with excess and power or not using power in the right way, either by you or someone else, Jupiter can expand that even further. And of course, always the most important thing is to understand the profound effects of changing our perspective on any of these things. So these are the types of things that are likely to come up, and any other things you can think of when you combine these elements.
Okay, so to get more information about the current and upcoming stars, go in another browser right now to AnnieHelpsYou.com. Scroll down just a bit and click on Unleash to get your free written star report. I do this monthly. I do this myself. It's not written by AI. So if you have a value to a human putting something together and you are in resonance with my perspectives, you can get your free report for each month there. I only send out 2 newsletters a month, so you will not get too much email from me, plus an occasional promo. If you want to see how the rest of the outer planets are going to be in your personal chart and exact dates for your personal chart for the outer planet transits, see my personalized video reports at anniebclarity.com, Annie the letter B, clarity.com. Again, all of the content is made by me. And if you want to learn astrology, there will always be a place for humans with the practice of astrology. And if you want to connect with people that way and help them to guide them on their best path and help them understand themselves and others, by being an astrologer, go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com, to see my astrology certification course. I can teach you how to help other people with astrology and to earn money while you're doing it. And if you want my 2026 calendar to know when the open times, the retrograde times of this year, we have a very retrograde year, and you want to see all the details, when you go to anniehelpsyou.com, right next to the Unleash box, there's one that says Upgrade. That will help you access my secret star portal that has the earliest access to all of my content, plus how to understand your birth chart and my 2026 calendar. So you can check that out there at Upgrade at anniehelpsyou.com. Okay, Capricorn friends, let's do our deep dive into where Jupiter moving through your opposing sign of Cancer is for you and what that looks like. This is 1 year of a 12-year cycle of Jupiter. It hasn't been in this place for 12 years. It won't be here for another 12 years, starting in June 2025, taking a little retrograde rest from November of 2025 into March of 2026, and now blazing forward March 10th until the end of June, when it will move into Leo. During this Cancer transit, Jupiter is accentuating the 7th house of Libra for Capricorn. And this is an opposition, which means it pushes and it pulls and it helps you to get all the balls up in the air, hopefully seamlessly. In your partnership section, we'll go into what that can look like and how me versus we will come up very strongly as expansion in your relationships wants to take place at this time. So from the whole house perspective, this transit and this influence, what we're going to talk about here in the 7th house of Libra, will be finished at the end of June. But from the Placidus perspective, the later you are in the Capricorn sign, the longer these influences may linger.
Okay, so when we are looking at how Jupiter moving through the 7th house or Libra can manifest, we use our trusty old equations, right? We add anything from the Jupiter rules or the Jupiter key points and add them to the energy of the 7th house or Libra, and that is a possible way that things can manifest. Expanding relationships is the main focus of the transit of Jupiter through the house of Libra or the sign of Libra. So the odds of great relationships, the romantic, business, friendships, client connections coming in now are very, very enhanced. Luck, benevolence and protection, amplification, addition, increase, even excess, changes in your philosophy. Going for your big relationship goals is a really good idea now. Now, as much as Jupiter can increase harmony and resolutions, it can also increase strife. First of all, if it's the wrong person for you, it could increase the drama so that you get out. Second of all, if the person is for you, you might have to get things to the surface to deal with them so that you can move on to the next level. So Jupiter tends to have an additive effect. Okay, this is very, very important to know about Jupiter. So if you're looking for your romantic partner, your person that you want to be with, Jupiter now can help you find them. If you already have them, maybe you get engaged. If you're already engaged, maybe you get married. If you're already married, maybe you have kids, and not necessarily in this order. So it tends to add to. And it is known as a time of luck in relationships in general, where, you know, the hands of fate can seem to be weaving very quickly to bring these dream people to you, whether it's romantic or business or otherwise. This is also a time where broadening your perspectives can add to experiences, and that can include practitioners or helpers. If you're someone who tries to do everything yourself, this might be a time when you being open to having somebody help you might help you find the perfect people to help you. Also, this can have to do with agreements and cooperation. Sometimes people will have an experience of excess, too much focus on relationship, too many people coming in, too many options, or choosing between people also can come up. All right, sometimes in order to get to our perfect match, we have to do inner work. But the type of inner work you might need might become exceptionally clear right now. So your capacity to see the mirror in the person that you're with, what they're mirroring for you, might be more profound, which could cause great healing, which could cause you to pull in, to change your vibrational matching and pull in somebody that is even better for you. We also have Jupiter bringing impetus to heal those patterns. All right. Also, receiving benefits through others can be very beneficial now. And the odds of having luck and saying the right thing that can increase your public perspective, public viewpoints from people, how they see you, saying the right thing to the right person at the right time can definitely increase in likelihood at this point. Peace and diplomacy and mediation and making mutually beneficial agreements are all opportunities of this time. Or if you need advice or counseling, finding the perfect person. Aesthetics, art, design, all can be increased now, and the energy of diversification might be relevant here. You might have education or teaching or languages or international connections come up as it relates to relationships. So remember to go big, go for your dreams, plant as many seeds as possible, and don't get frustrated if they're not showing up, because it might take a little time. It could be any time over the 12-year process that they do. You can understand expansion as this relative topic. The energy of freedom wants to come to this space, so look for the ways that you can help to make that happen. Don't be surprised if weak links show up, and understand the profound effects of changing your perspective and how it can change your relationships in your life.
Okay, so to get more information about the current and upcoming stars, go in another browser right now to AnnieHelpsYou.com. Scroll down just a bit and click on Unleash to get your free written star report. I do this monthly. I do this myself. It's not written by AI, so if you have a value to a human putting something together and you are in resonance with my perspectives, you can get your free report for each month there. I only send out 2 newsletters a month, so you will not get too much email from me, plus an occasional promo. If you want to see how the rest of the outer planets are going to be in your personal chart and exact dates for your personal chart for the outer planet transits, see my personalized video reports at AnnieBClarity.com, Annie the letter B, Clarity.com. Again, all of the content is made by me. And if you want to learn astrology, there will always be a place for humans with the practice of astrology. And if you want to connect with people that way and help them to guide them on their best path and help them understand themselves and others, by being an astrologer, go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com, to see my astrology certification course. I can teach you how to help other people with astrology and to earn money while you're doing it. And if you want my 2026 calendar to know when the open times, the retrograde times of this year, we have a very retrograde year, and you want to see all the details, when you go to AnnieHelpsYou.com, right next to the Unleash box, there's one that says Upgrade. That will help you access my secret star portal that has the earliest access to all of my content, plus how to understand your birth chart and my 2026 calendar. So you can check that out there at Upgrade at AnnieHelpsYou.com. Okay, Aquarius friends, let's do our deep dive to see where Jupiter in Cancer's movement from June 2025 until July 2026 will be activating for you. This is a 1-year transit, every 12-year transits, or every 12 years. So this hasn't happened for 12 years, and it won't happen for another 12 years. In November, whatever was moving forward here may have started to go backwards from November 2025 into March of 2026, and now from March to the end of June, blazing forward in your 6th house of Virgo. Let's do a deep dive to see what that looks like, knowing that in the whole house, this is ending at the end of June, and in the Placidus house, it'll be longer for you later degree placements.
Okay, so when we apply the energies of Jupiter transit, so we add Jupiter to the 6th house, we want to look at the areas that Jupiter rules, look at the key points, and add them to the energies of the 6th house or Virgo. And anything that we add together on these sides will be a potential that Jupiter can bring from its transit. All right, so Jupiter in this position can bring the promise of potentials for great health, the right practitioners, and the means to procure their services will be very supported at this time. Something like an answer to a previously enigmatic health issue can also be likely. And if you are not active in exploring all the avenues for healing, Jupiter might expand your diversification on the topic of looking for solutions to your healing. This can also have to do with modalities that maybe you weren't open to before, because remember, Jupiter can expand your philosophy or viewpoint. So maybe you weren't open to alternative medicine, and maybe you have a change in your viewpoint, and then you try it and it works, or vice versa. Maybe you're into alternative medicine and there's some kind of more mainstream modality, and you change your viewpoint, and then you get the healing. So it's just all about the openness. Openness is more likely to breed, a result as far as a solution, because Jupiter also rules solutions. Okay. Any kind of congenital issue or an underlying condition or symptom also has a greater chance of being unearthed now. So things by looking into your genetics, and basically going as wide as possible, broadening, and covering all of your bases with your efforts will definitely help Jupiter to work its magic. Something else that we can see is enhancement, amplification of, changes in viewpoints of, broadening of, optimism, having to do with your daily circumstances. So this Jupiter or 6th house in Virgo rules your daily work, so your office environment or whatever your usual daily experience can have a boost from the Great Benefic. Any kind of problems with like employees or coworkers, if there's something under the surface, it has a chance of being exacerbated. If there's, already a problem, it could either get worse or come to the solution, or it getting worse could bring the solution. But the energy of solution and resolution is definitely very Jupiterian. And if you are unemployed and want to have work, it can amplify your work or be additive. Again, a key here might be diversification. Let's say you need income and you're going for this one job and it's not working out, then maybe getting a couple of smaller, part-time things might be honoring this energy and could give you more luck. Diversification is often very key wherever Jupiter is moving through at this time. Okay, so the connection with the body emotions and the mind, body, spirit may also become of interest. I talked about this as it relates to your health or a specific health problem, but just the general practice of expanding your scope and through things, like yoga or meditation or supplements are all increased in, in your opportunity. And also stress management. Stress management and sleep management is two of the top things we could do for our health. So you might find some luck or some information or change of viewpoint that could help at this time. Things having to do with your organization and your systems. Like you could be very disorganized and you could go through and get a good system together and it could completely change your life. Anything having to do with pets, getting a new pet, fostering a pet, becoming involved with pets or animals in some way for your work or for your healing can be of special note at this time. And also notable interactions with other animals. If you are going to see a captive animal in a zoo or somewhere else, you could have some kind of healing or profound experience with animals at this time. So remember to go big with your goals anywhere here. Plant as many seeds as possible. Think about the topic of freedom and how you can find solutions. Know that a weak link could come up, and understand the profound effects of changing your perspective on these topics to yield amazing results.
Okay, so to get more information about the current and upcoming stars, go in another browser right now to AnnieHelpsYou.com. Scroll down just a bit and click on Unleash to get your free written star report. I do this monthly. I do this myself. It's not written by AI, so if you have a value to a human putting something together and you are in resonance with my perspectives, you can get your free report for each month there. I only send out 2 newsletters a month, so you will not get too much email from me, plus an occasional promo. If you want to see how the rest of the outer planets are going to be in your personal chart and exact dates for your personal chart for the outer planet transits, see my personalized video reports at AnnieBClarity.com, Annie the letter B, Clarity.com. Again, all of the content is made by me. And if you want to learn astrology, there will always be a place for humans with the practice of astrology. And if you want to connect with people that way and help them to guide them on their best path and help them understand themselves and others, by being an astrologer, go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com, to see my astrology certification course. I can teach you how to help other people with astrology and to earn money while you're doing it. And if you want my 2026 calendar to know when the open times, the retrograde times of this year, we have a very retrograde year, and you want to see all the details, when you go to AnnieHelpsYou.com, right next to the Unleash box, there's one that says Upgrade. That will help you access my secret star portal that has the earliest access to all of my content, plus how to understand your birth chart and my 2026 calendar. So you can check that out there at Upgrade at AnnieHelpsYou.com. Okay, Pisces friends, so let's look at where Jupiter in fellow water sign of Cancer, when it's moving through this sign, where is that activating for Pisces from June 2025 until the end of June 2026, with that little 4-month break in November 2025, kind of going inward and backwards, and now blasting forward in March of 2026 and blazing through until it is finished. This is accentuating for you this 5th house of Leo. So we're going to do a deep dive into the energy of Jupiter, what it looks like in Leo, and do know also that as Jupiter is making this movement for this whole year, it's making a trine, the most favorable aspect in all of astrology for your Pisces placement, and speaking the language of water, which is one that Pisces understands. All right, so from the whole house perspective, the information I'm going to give you for the manifestation through the 5th house of Leo will be ending at the end of June. From the Placidus house perspective or Placidus chart perspective, the later you are in the Pisces sign, the longer you will feel the lingering of these essences.
Okay, so when we relate Jupiter to the energy of the 5th house or the energy of Leo, the sign of Leo or the 5th house, we take all the Jupiter rules, all the Jupiter key points, and the rulership of the 5th house in Leo and combine them. Any addition of any of these things are what you can see during a Jupiter transit. So for instance, Jupiter in the 5th house brings expansion and growth and luck and fertility to children. So through conception or pregnancy or childbirth, child rearing, or anything having to do with your kids, your own, or any others. And this can also be a time of expanded fun and harmony with children, anywhere along the birthing process, or creative babies. Or it could be that your children need more attention and there's something going on that has to be addressed. And all of that is expansion in that area. Anything having to do with optimism, diversification, amplification, having to do with love and romance. Love and romance is not on there, but I'm going to put it on right now. A lot of times Jupiter in this sign or house can bring in your true love, or just someone, a person of consequence, a POC as I call them. So new love can come in now, or love you have now could be noticeably improved. If there are things under the surface, Jupiter could expand the issues so that you can solve the problems. It also increases your magnetism to your true love and your magnetism to go big and set your big love goals to help them come true. It rules creativity of all kinds. So creative projects, hobbies, gifts, anything having to do with music or something that puts you out in the limelight or being seen, out in front of people, singing, composing, acting. So advances in luck and opportunities in those areas can really abound at this point. Hobbies can be expanded, so you could find something that you love to do that you never knew that you would like. Or your hobbies can be amplified, added to, and can turn into business. You can also do things to excess. So if there's a habit or an addiction that you have and you're having a little too much fun, this could cause problems and could point out that you might need to get help in solving that issue. But in general, if you can manage the excess and it's something that is okay for you, this can be a time of great fun. And I also call it a bucket list house or sign, because something that you've always wanted to do, Jupiter can come and bring its luck and protection in your endeavors to do that. You could also discover a hidden talent on the topic of talents. So remember that any seeds planted now, even if they're not manifesting, can have a chance to grow over the next 12 years. All right? So if you are a person who's overworked, this could be the year that fun becomes a mandatory part of your life instead of a rare occurrence. So again, your perspective on fun could change or amplify. So you see how, how I do my work, if you're familiar with this. Rather than just tell you what could happen, I want to help you understand why, so that you can go deeper and you can use your understanding to see all of the different ways that I might not mention of how this could happen. Freedom on the topic of love. You could be freed from a difficult relationship. You could be freed from a pattern within love. You could, find a little bit more space from a pattern of codependency within your long-term relationship and just, have a little more independence. All of these are ways that I have seen Jupiter manifest in the 5th house, or Leo.
Okay, so to get more information about the current and upcoming stars, go in another browser right now to AnnieHelpsYou.com. Scroll down just a bit and click on Unleash to get your free written star report. I do this monthly. I do this myself. It's not written by AI, so if you have a value to a human putting something together and you are in resonance with my perspectives, you can get your free report for each month there. I only send out 2 newsletters a month, so you will not get too much email from me, plus an occasional promo. If you want to see how the rest of the outer planets are going to be in your personal chart and exact dates for your personal chart for the outer planet transits, see my personalized video reports at AnnieBClarity.com, Annie the letter B, Clarity.com. Again, all of the content is made by me. And if you want to learn astrology, there will always be a place for humans with the practice of astrology. And if you want to connect with people that way and help them to guide them on their best path and help them understand themselves and others, by being an astrologer, go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com, to see my astrology certification course. I can teach you how to help other people with astrology and to earn money while you're doing it. And if you want my 2026 calendar to know when the open times, the retrograde times of this year, we have a very retrograde year, and you want to see all the details, when you go to AnnieHelpsYou.com, right next to the Unleash box, there's one that says Upgrade. That will help you access my secret star portal that has the earliest access to all of my content, plus how to understand your birth chart and my 2026 calendar. So you can check that out there at Upgrade at AnnieHelpsYou.com.